Hi, Charles with SirBookSage here, and this is my 2020 reading goals. When I first started this channel, I had meant it to be kind of half sci-fi and half fantasy. But because of the stories, the books I was in the middle of reading, fantasy pretty much consumed almost the entirety of my content since I started this channel. Mainly because I was reading pretty big epic fantasy stories. So like Kate Elliott's The Crown of Stars, The Wheel of Time, Thomas Covenant Chronicles. But now I want to get back to making sure I kind of have a split between the two. I had wanted to take place in that SFF September, I think it was, or Space Opera September by SFF 180 that he had put together. And then I started it, read some sci-fi, got sick, and then ended up not even being able to do that TBR. So what I've thought about doing here for 2020 is kind of splitting the month up. I'm going to experiment. The first 2 weeks of the month, starting with March, is going to concentrate on science fiction. And I'm reading the Vorkosigan saga by Louis Bujold McMaster, I think. And I'm also going to finally get into the Honor Harrington series. I read on Basilisk Station, the first book, 20 years ago maybe. Enjoyed it, and I've always wanted to get back to that series. So my first half of the month is going to be concentrating on those. And then the second half of the month is going to be focusing on fantasy. And for 2020, now that Wheel of Time is done, Covenant's done, Crown of Stars is done, it's finally time to read Malazan, Book of the Fallen. I just finished the first book, Gardens of the Moon, last night, and I'm probably about maybe 75 pages into the second book. I think it's Dead House Gates, is that it? I'm really enjoying it. I thoroughly enjoyed the first book, and I know this is going to be a lot of fun, this series. So I'm going to try to finish up Dead House Gates this month in February, and then in March start splitting the month up. Sci-fi in the beginning, Malazan in the second half. Now, I'm not only going to be reading those three series and nothing else, because I mean there'll still be lots of one-offs and different things as we go. There's actually a book, I think it's called A Simple Life, is it? I actually can't remember the name of the book, and I've been waiting for this book to come out since last year. But Brandon Taylor's book. I actually have on pre-order. I think I'm getting it Tuesday. And yes, of course, as soon as I turn the camera on, the name of the book slips my mind. So I'll put it out down here on text. But anyway, it's his debut novel. I pre-ordered it back in September. Really looking forward to that. There'll be other things. I think I've got like a special theme month in October that I'm hoping to do. Been wanting to do it the past couple of Octobers and just didn't work out. So we'll see though. I will kind of announce that month's theme a few months beforehand. Probably maybe in the summer sometime. So for anyone else who wants to participate in that when I get around to it, it'll give you some time to get the particular books in question. So yeah, so that's my main simple goals. I set my Goodreads. I didn't put it to 50 books this year. I think I put it to 25 or maybe 24, I think. Because again, I'm reading Malazan this year, so those are big, giant, door-stopping books as well. So that's going to reduce the amount of books I'm going to be reading this year. Because, you know, when you're reading books that are 800, 900, 1,000 pages, you know, you're not going to read 50 of those. You're probably only going to read maybe 20 of those. So I set 24 for my goal. So we'll see. Felt weird not putting 50, but 50 is really not realistic. But yeah, that's kind of it, I guess. Simple, nothing complicated this year. Just I want to focus mainly on Vorkosigan and Honor Harrington and Malazan are going to be my primary focuses, with all sorts of other stuff scattered in. Different reading projects I'm sure I'll take place in people's readathons when they come up with interesting ones. So yeah, and there's again urban fantasy. I've got a whole bunch of urban fantasy in my Kindle library And I really do need to get around to reading those at some point. But we'll see. But those are my main things. So I'm going to give this a try. First half of the month, sci-fi. Second half of the month, fantasy. With, in this particular case, Malazan. Yeah, so which means Sanderson reading is probably going to be a 2021 reading project. So if I can finish off Malazan this year, I'm hoping that 2021 is going to be me diving into Brandon Sanderson's entire catalog. But again, it's all another year away. I just don't see that I'll have just the bandwidth, the reading bandwidth, even though that's a stupid saying, to get into Sanderson stuff this year with my reading Malazan. But it's time for Malazan though. It's something I knew I would get to after Wheel of Time. And so yeah. So I don't know if any of you have read Malazan. Again, no spoilers, but let me know your thoughts. If you've read the Vorkosigan saga or the Honor Harrington saga. Again, let me know your thoughts. Again, no spoilers on anything. I don't want any spoilers. Vorkosigan I'm reading in chronological timeline order, not publication order. I just decided to go with the chronological timeline, just for whatever reason. So I've already read Falling Free. And now Shards of Honor, I think, is the next one for me, which is going to get more into the meat of the main saga, because Falling Free, I think, took place like 200 years prior to the main storyline. But looking forward to it. I miss sci-fi, miss like, space opera sci-fi and all that kind of military sci-fi. It's a lot of fun. So looking forward to kind of counterbalancing my epic fantasy reads with that. And thank you to all my subscribers. Somewhere along the way, I've passed 600 subscribers. I didn't even realize. I've been mainly taking a break from watching Booktube and just needed to unplug and disconnect from it for a little bit. And while I've been out doing photography and stuff, and that's been kind of a good focus for me, to get out and be out and about more than just sitting and reading. So now I'm trying to find back to a counterbalance between the two. So I kind of put reading and Booktube and everything aside for photography, and now I want to find a way to balance them out. Because I do miss being involved in Booktube on a regular basis. So hopefully I'm back. I'm going to do a separate video about my Harry Potter series. I've got some issues with YouTube there, so I'm not going to go into that in this video. So that's it. I'm just going to wrap this up here. Hit like, hit subscribe, particularly if you're into science fiction and fantasy. I'm looking again to bring in more of my classic sci-fi that I love so much. So we'll see. But again, I'm embarking on 3 big series: 2 sci-fi, 1 fantasy. And yeah, so I guess I'll wrap it up here. I am Charles, SirBookSage. Happy reading.